What are they honking at?
I chose this spot because there was no ramps to it. There wasn't going to be a lot of traffic backed up.
It's a spot along Interstate 35 at Roseville. It can be seen from more than a mile away. And on that spot, one guy, one American guy.
They're honking their horns and throwing their fists into the air and waving and cheering.
Tom French says he couldn't go to work today, too distracted by the terrorism that hit our nation.
I lost my sense of security yesterday. I lost my son 2.5 years ago and he died in my arms. And this triggered that same feeling of helplessness.
French says he wanted to turn his frustration into a way to bring people, Americans, together.
God bless you. I feel your love.
They can't hear his voice, and we can't hear theirs. 55-mile-an-hour travel muffles all but one thing, a definite expression of freedom, heard loud and clear.
I just wanted to reach as many people as I could. I don't have to say much. The flag says a lot. And there's not going to be anybody in this world that is not touched by this.
One guy in Minnesota. One American guy trying to make a difference.
The problem is it could start right here in the kitchen. The National Poison Control Center for Animals says you could be giving your dog a deadly treat and not even know it until it's too late.
Greta, good girl, come on.
For Julie Strum, the painful lesson started one weekend when she left Greta, her lab, home alone with her purse wide open.
That was what I found when I got home. On the floor were bits and pieces of what used to be a pack of gum.
The remnants of the pack of Orbit's gum would be the evidence that would save the dog's life. Had you not taken her to the ER right away, what would have happened?
She would have passed away.
Because inside the sugar-free gum is a compound called xylitol. It's a sugar substitute perfectly safe for humans, but potentially deadly within hours if ingested animals.
I didn't see it earlier.
Dr. Itkin at All Pets Emergency in Alpharetta says it can happen in a matter of 30 minutes.
By the time you probably find what happened, it's already inside.
Xylitol causes dogs to rapidly produce insulin, quickly dropping their blood sugar. Within 30 minutes, a dog can start to act confused, uncoordinated, and start to seize. And just a little bit of xylitol can be toxic.
Minuscule amounts, enough in a couple of pieces of Orbit gum, could make a dog like this possibly symptomatic. So it doesn't take a lot.
Xylitol is a hidden danger because many dog owners may never know their dog ingested the sugar substitute. It's used in many human foods like muffins, cookies, crackers, and diet snacks. But many people have no idea it's in their kitchen. Had you ever heard of xylitol?
Never. Xylitol, it's in a couple of different gums, I think so. Is it known to be in like different foods too?
CBS 46 discovered foods with xylitol do not come with a warning. FDA standards do not require foods to be labeled for human and animal consumption.
It's everywhere. You can even buy it as almost as a sugar substitute to cook with.
Good girl, stay. Let's go.
More than $1,000 in vet bills, and Greta seems to be recovering. But the vet warns us that the deadliest effects of xylitol can be delayed.
Ready?
Some of these dogs, 2 to 3 days later, will develop liver failure. And thus far, that has been pretty devastating for most of those that get it.
If you think your dog's ingested xylitol, contact your vet right away. Because it can be hard to tell, we have a whole list of symptoms on our website. Just go to CBS46.com and click on CBS 46 Investigates. I'm Kim Fettig, CBS 46 Investigates.
Sometimes we don't see it coming. Logically, Charlotte Graves and Brianna Johnson should have expected a train at the railroad crossing on Ferry Street, but they didn't. Nobody did. And as friends paid tribute to Bridget Shannon, Brian Fraser, Harry Rhodes, and Corey Chase, the train made it real. Too real.
It shouldn't have happened.
Because when you're 17 years old, you don't expect "see you later" to be goodbye. And as the train screamed down the tracks, goodbye was all anyone could hear.
It's gone. That was Bridget saying bye. Bridget's gone.
5:45 p.m. rush hour, October 13th. Thousands are heading back to Hudson.
I'm jumping off that bridge today, and it just became set in my mind.
24-year-old Andrew Leach did it. His friend videotaped it from a boat below.
I was just up and over, no hesitation. I think as I was falling, I was just like, oh my God, this is insane.
Leach taped his ankles to keep them from breaking when he hit the water. He covered 80 feet in 2 seconds.
I went down maybe 10 feet, and it was probably 3 swings of my arms, and I was back up.
Now, Leach was in a tough spot, not because he was 80 feet below the interstate bridge, because he was between Minnesota and Wisconsin. A dozen different departments responded to that call, jumper in the water.
Driving by, Terry Brennan caught the jump out of the corner of her eye.
I mean, I was coming across and I looked to my right, he hopped up on there, and next thing you know, he just jumped.
I think stupidity comes to mind.
Fire, EMS, dive teams, dozens of departments responded.
They're always at risk because St. Croix is just a dangerous river. It runs fast, it runs deep.
Leach had already been picked up by a buddy and was back at his boat less than a mile away.
And I decided, you know what, I'm going to skip town. I don't even want to be around here. There's cops everywhere, and I was kind of nervous.
Leach decided to do the right thing. He walked into a gas station, called 911.
And he went to the payphone, and he had his hood up and everything.
And I was like, hi, I'm like, I just jumped off the bridge. I'm totally fine. You know, I did it for a rush. You need to call off the search and rescue. And just out of fear, I hung up the phone and walked out.
10 minutes later, the jumper was arrested, booked, and released, charged with disorderly conduct. The question, how much does he owe for the search?
I've heard between $10,000 and $15,000.
Leach says he's watched that tape more than 100 times.
It still brings a smile to my face, and it probably always will. You know, it'll be something I can show my kids and say, you know what, your dad used to be cool.
We walked back up to the spot. Leach looked down.
It's a long ways to the bottom.
He looked around and hesitated.
I don't know if I'd even do it again.
Scott Soroka, 5 Eyewitness News.
Little Chloe. She's a fierce one, isn't she? 3.5 pounds of Yorkshire spit and terrier vinegar.
Poor Chloe.
Although up until just a few weeks ago, visitors to the Corey home in Soudan, Minnesota were warmly welcomed. That is, before that one unwelcome visitor came flying into their lives. Who, you say? An owl.
Just talking about it, oh, it's gross.
It all started the first week in January.
I was sitting right here.
Sitting right there waiting for Chloe to do her business.
And then I heard a big screech, a loud screech, and I thought it was Chloe crying.
Oh, she was crying all right, but that's not where the screech came from. It came from one of these. A great horned owl. Looked just like the picture of the one they pulled off the internet.
It had its wings spread like that picture, had its wings spread like that, and then it folded up its wings and just looked at me. And I saw Chloe's little paws sticking out from underneath it. I took off my boots, threw my boots at it, went and got Shelby's shoes, more shoes. I was just whipping stuff at it. Hardly anything hit it because I was just hysterical.
It finally flew off when Christy came at it with a broom. The owl dropped Chloe in the driveway.
Up!
As you can see, outside of some puncture wounds from the owl's grip, Chloe is fine. Although it didn't just that one close call. A few days later, Christy and Chloe came home to find the owl sitting right there on the front porch, waiting.
It was terrible. I couldn't believe it was sitting there waiting for her.
What's worse, even that wasn't the end. About a week went by, and then the event that made this whole house jump.
And we heard a big bang like a gunshot.
I thought the bird feeder hit our window.
No, it wasn't the bird feeder. It was that bird again, hoping to feed on a little Yorkie. Yeah, it's a smart owl, but hasn't quite gotten the concept of glass.
It landed right here about.
A while later, the owl flew away, and they haven't seen it since. But somewhere out in these woods, there's an owl with a taste for terrier. Although Chloe's making sure the owl gets the message, the only bird food around here is for the hummingbirds. Rod Reisman, Channel 5 Eyewitness News, Sudan.
حي على الفلاح.
Stay there, Hammer, stay there!
2 years ago, the Lady Caliphs were remembered more for their scarves and sweatpants than for their moves on the basketball court. The Muslim team from W.D. Muhammad High School was muddled in last place with a winless season.
I saw things I've never seen this year. You were better. We're getting there. I'm proud of tonight.
And then Farad Abdul Rahman came into their lives.
Straight up! Stay there, Brianna, stay there! Get back to Karen Dice. I don't need y'all back. 1, 2, 3!
Can you believe that? Yes. Can you fight for this? Yes.
Under Farad's vigilant charge, within one season, the team was dominant, a record that shot from worst to first.
That was the same pulse we had in here last year when nobody beat us. I saw it. They ain't seen no comebacks like that. You brought it. Allahu Akbar.
Farad is more father than coach to the Lady Caliphs. He is a shepherd of hope and a spiritual guide who shares their faith.
I just didn't know that God would bring Farad into my life and make that much easier for me.
Ultimately, if I'm preparing them to be a better young lady, and I'm helping them become a stronger person and a person that believes in themselves, a person whose self-esteem is so high, then I'm really doing my job.
But there is another force at play on Farad's court, one that has steered his life.
And I do it in behalf of my sister, and that's why I started it. And I pray to always maintain the real mission.
His younger sister, Beanie, was murdered by her boyfriend 9 years ago. She was Farad growing up. Her memory is tucked into everything he does.
And ultimately, her life has served a purpose, especially from my perspective. And I want to empower these young ladies because I want them to make good decisions. I want them to make better decisions than my sister made.
Farad's family echoes his resolve to honor Beanie and empower young women.
So he wants to help girls make a better decision in life.
There's no measure to what he is willing to do and give to someone. And that's just a quality that only God can give you. Basically what he tells us is what he wished somebody would tell her, and maybe things would have turned out differently.
A voice that was once meek speaks with eloquence and poise.
So let's be grateful and continue to discover.
Do you want it?
Yeah!
Come in and let's take it.
But another voice will stay with them long after the cheers of the crowd die down.
And if I'm preparing them to face the world, because we all understand the world is rough, then that's my job. That's my ultimate win.
In life, you can fall so far. Getting back up becomes a daily struggle.
Sometimes you have to struggle to get where you want to go.
Randy Boyd lost his job and apartment in St. Louis last year and came to the Twin Cities to replace both. Getting to work takes 2 buses and an hour each day. Finding a home, well, that's taken him straight into a numbers game.
I have 7 beds for the month, plus 7 beds for tonight.
Number 4!
At the Simpson Shelter in South Minneapolis, a bed for the night.
The next number is number 1.
can easily rest on the luck of the draw.
Number 13.
You want to stay tonight?
Winners of a weekly lottery become guests in a church gym. Losers hit the street, and there are always losers.
Oh, jeez. Oh, this is a pain. It's filthy.
When we met him in December, Greg Laverta had been staying in a garbage-strewn hovel with few comforts of home. Pour enough whiskey down your throat, he told us.
I'm tired of living this way.
And you don't mind the dirt or the cold.
It's not a picnic. Oh, man.
Even living here, Greg held down a full job. But after 8 years on the street, he'd finally had enough.
Do you think you'll be back here? I hope not.
With Monica Nilsson's help and his own hard-earned money, Greg found a way out. Monica runs the Simpson shelter. About 3 years ago, she noticed more and more working people in need of housing. People like Greg and Randy Boyd, full-time workers with no place to go.
And they're just regular people, but the housing market is terrible, so they end up here.
Maybe you've even said it yourself at some point. Why don't they just go out and get a job? Well, it's to the point where 3/4 of the beds here at Simpson are taken up by people who work. So Monica Nilsson got an idea. What if she could encourage those working people for places of their own? 40% of each paycheck in exchange for one guaranteed bed.
It's amazing what the stability of even a mat on the floor does to give people some rest in order to keep working.
So on this night, Greg won't leave his fate to chance.
14.
This is a lot for me right now.
Having enrolled in Monica's savings program, his bed, lucky number 7, will be there as long as he saves money and follows the rules.
It beats the hell out of a jailhouse bed, I'll say that much.
Just what does a stable bed mean? For Randy Boyd, it meant time to find a good-paying job at a local recycling center. $11.25 an hour, but still no place of his own.
You know, I got a good job, I make good money, I should be able to find a place.
5 months after arriving in Minneapolis, he finally did. At the Evergreen, a Minneapolis apartment house for people who've moved out of shelters, $300 a month got Randy a room and not much else. But to him, it means everything.
You know, sometimes I just come in, just dive on the bed, you know, like a little kid, you know, it's mine, you know.
For every Randy, there are hundreds waiting. The Evergreen got more than 500 applications for 88 rooms.
This time of year is hard. It is. You go home at night and it's like, well, thank God I have a place to stay.
When you live on the edge, it's easier to fall.
Because I had a few drinks and Mary got mad and threw me out.
Weeks after getting off the street, we found Greg at a place called the Overflow Shelter, a last chance stop before the street. He'd lost his job, his bed in the church gym, and had blown what little savings he had. On this night, he was lucky to just get a bed.
So where are you tomorrow?
Maybe here, maybe under a bridge, maybe, I don't know where. Que sera, sera, huh? Whatever will be, will be.
Monica hasn't lost faith.
I'll see him again, and I'll try again, and he'll try again, and one of these times we'll make it. I have to believe that, or it would be very difficult to do this work.
Few jobs bring such bittersweet rewards. One man dreams of owning a sure thing, his own home.
It's great to see Randy, you know, living in a place.
Another lives his life by the luck of the draw.
Number 2.
We know where Randy Boyd will sleep tonight. Where is Greg Laverta? We don't have any idea. In Minneapolis, John Barr, iNews.
It's really creepy.
In windows across a neighborhood, women keep seeing these eyes staring at them.
My roommate was doing her homework right inside this bedroom here inside, and she saw a man's face right up in that cutout.
All but covered in blinds, a peeper angles for a view. Emily Bezick says the same man keeps coming back.
To the side of the house he's been in quite a few times, people have seen.
Even using a cinder block for a step up.
Someone had used it to look down through the blinds.
Calvin Jennings has done this for years, a thick rap sheet of convictions spanning 5 counties.
He got caught on our porch.
Going from one house to the next last Sunday night, this time Jennings was looking at Katie Finn.
The thing too is my blinds don't close all the way, so there's a little area right there, and it's kind of scary.
So co-eds are looking out for each other, knowing someone else is looking in.
You just don't know what peeping will lead to or what he's doing while he's peeping. You know, it's just so disturbing.
This is a story about a team that found itself.
And we will give the fans something fun to watch.
Off the bat. Yeah, yeah, yeah!
They found out how to win.
We have a lot of talent, and I think that's becoming evident.
How to smile.
Just feels incredible.
And what they found is their road to respect.
I had kind of set, myself ready to be realistic. You guys are going to stack and then screen.
All new head coach Brenda Oldfield had to do was look at last year's record, whole dose of reality. Just one win in the Big Ten.
Nice job, jump.
The new coach brought new hope for the program.
I knew she was coming in here and she was going to be successful and just was going to lead us in the right direction.
The best start in Gopher women's history had the players believing again. But would anyone be in the stands to see it?
There you go. All right, all right.
For those who are still unsure whether the Gophers' early success was a fluke, they would only need a few minutes with Peter Benares.
I knew they were a good team last year. I mean, they had good players. They just weren't gelling.
But it would come together faster than anyone imagined. A few wins brought out the curious and the once loyal.
I've seen people here that haven't been here for years, I'll put it that way. It's just fun to watch. You'll be back.
More and more company, especially after the Gophers beat Illinois for the first time since 1995.
Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
Hey, thanks for coming!
Between the wins and the autograph sessions,
I love cream of wheat.
were the everyday scenes that turned these players into more than a team. They've truly become a family.
Want Oreo anymore? Yeah, Kimber always eating up my good. I know a lot of people wouldn't know that I like disco. These are my sisters. My team is my family here.
That bond would be put to the test with their battle in Madison.
A lot of people just thinking it's a fluke. We just coming up lucky winning. They really don't have much respect for us. Come on! Come on! We gonna show out, boy. We gonna shock a lot of people tomorrow, though. I think so.
Getting peers to acknowledge it would be harder.
I think, yeah, there's people always gonna talk about us and saying we don't have talent or we're not gonna win any games or whatever. But we just take that as a motivation factor for us. So. Creed! Are you ready? Remember how we've been talking about the big three?
The night before their biggest game to date, there were no signs of nerves, only the hopes of opening more eyes.
Well, I think it would just, put us, definitely give us some more respect. And we are a top 5 team.
7:30 a.m., January 20th.
We have a word of the game also. Normandy.
D-Day. The Gophers could only imagine the Kohl Center filled and how they would respond.
We just gotta keep our composure. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing with all the crowd. Be on the same page.
They're expecting you to come out and be intimidated by 17,000 people.
Give me some! Give me some! 1, 2, 3,
Rebound! Go get it!
The score favored Minnesota, but that wasn't always enough for Oldfield.
I'm not playing you if you're not going to compete. Catch the ball. Let's go. There you go. There you go.
I thought, you know, if our players were believing in themselves and our system, we would have a great chance.
We deserve to win now, because we talented and we proven that each game. Good job, right?
You can always say, you know, we helped change that program around.
Hell of a game.
You guys mean so much to me. I want to thank you guys for playing your hearts out. Everybody in the bench, everyone came to play.
I'm so proud of you guys. We've now raised this freaking bar for this team, all right?
And that was merely the beginning. There would be more fans, more headlines, and more huge wins. This team used to talk about stealing a few games, but they've come to realize that this team has stolen nothing, taken everything.
I think we're not stealing any more games. We actually going out playing hard and we earn what we get.
We were there the first year, you know, Coach O was there, and we saw things change, and that's something we can always carry with us.
And now they've traveled far enough to expect some respect. With photojournalist Lorri Burchett, I'm Kathy Gerhardt for Sports Wrap.
Head north and east in Alaska, and you'll discover a land of contrasts, the midnight sun and midsummer ice, majestic mountain peaks in the south, and the flatness of a vast plain and the sea to the north. A land where it rains only a handful of inches a year, yet wetlands flourish, and rivers crisscross a carpet of tiny tundra wildflowers, along with the caribou. And under this ancient and uncivilized place lies an ingredient that's crucial to modern industrial civilization.
ANWR can produce 600,000 barrels of oil a day for the next 40 years.
That will threaten our life because it'll take away who we are.
It looks like I just seen dollar signs in their eyes, and it looks like all they want to do is drill.
We're told we either protect the environment or we develop energy resources. That is a false choice. We can, in fact, do both.
It's impossible to industrialize that area without changing the nature of that landscape.
This is a flat, nothing area, just flat.
I mean, all you have to do is stand here and take a look around, and you can see what an amazing place this is.
Really, I wish you could just go 1, 2, 3 and poof, there'd be gas.
Can oil and wild mix? I'm Randy Meyer. I'll show you the wilderness, the animals, and the people of Alaska's Arctic refuge, and the oil fields the industry wants to build here. Join me for Oil Field of Dreams tonight. Good evening, I'm Randy Meyer. For the next half hour, we're going to show you an issue that has quickly polarized many Americans over the summer. Should one of the last untapped wilderness areas in our country be tapped for oil? And now with the recent terrorist attacks in New York and Washington, D.C., Congress is expected more closely at domestic sources of oil rather than importing it. Well, in June, we traveled to one of those sources, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in Alaska, a place few people will ever see for themselves.
This here is about 5 minutes worth of gas.
We're ready. Our journey began, as most do in this vast state, aboard a bush plane. It would be the first of many. From Fairbanks, we flew about 250 miles to a small native settlement called Arctic Village, home to the Gwich'in Indians on the southern border of the refuge. You'll hear why these villagers believe drilling will dramatically disrupt a way of life they've known for generations. Another plane, another 100 miles north, over the towering mountains of the Brooks Range, into the heart of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, or ANWR as it's called. You'll see the proposed drilling area, a place only 300 people visit each year. And then we headed north again to see the start of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline at Prudhoe Bay. How has wildlife been affected by an oil field that's been around for decades? You'll see what we discovered.
We are 115 tomorrow.
On the final leg of our journey, we traveled east to an Inupiat Eskimo village called Kaktovik. It's on the shores of the Arctic Ocean. You'll hear why many in this village embrace the prospect of oil drilling in their own backyard. Drilling in one of the largest protected natural areas on the face of the earth.
Even with a busy life, Dan Haugen finds time for quiet prayer.
We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord, your Son.
Dan's wanted to be a priest since second grade.
God forever. And I feel at this point in my life, and for the rest of my life, I'm called to the priesthood.
If divine providence called him early to surroundings so serene,
bless the Lord.
How then to explain how he winds up?
How you doing there?
Green.
I'm a pickle.
This time each year,
How you doing there, humans?
this would-be priest gets pickled.
Say pickles.
From the warts on his head to his size 12 Chuck Taylors, Gedney Pickle's mascot figures his job leaves others green with envy.
Cool as a cucumber. All right.
So why would Gedney pickle a would-be priest? Well, in a word, pedigree.
That was me.
You see, Dan's dad's been pickled.
I think you're gherkin my chain.
His mom, pickled.
That's Crystal.
Same with sister Rachel, even little brother Joe.
I've been pickling off and on for about 3 years.
The whole jar full of pickles. What can I say?
There's an art to it.
In a home where Dan Jr. is posing with the Pope, why they're just as proud of their pickle pictures.
It's delicious. That's what it is. Delicious. How you doing? Good to see ya.
Dan only wishes he could hang on to moments such as this.
Hug. Oh, look at that. Pickle hugs are the sweetest. All right.
Then again, if he did, he'd be
the pickle priest.
Yeah. Are you a cactus?
I'm a pickle.
Look at him.
Yeah, a color change, however jarring, will have to come.
It's going to be sad leaving the pickle, but I'm going to have to hang up the green to put on the black. Bye-bye! Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Faith and family will help him through.
Bless us, O Lord, in these thy gifts which we are about to receive, bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Here, Joey, want to pass the cell?
And by the way, the menu tonight at the Haugen house, lasagna and what else?
Michael, you going to have a pickle?
John Barr, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.